welcome to The Corner. By now you may have seen previous episodes of this show, which is devoted to people, places, businesses, and things going on in and around Marion, Kansas. The Corner airs on MCTV, Channel 20, here in Marion and throughout Marion County. You can also catch it on Eagle Communications Channel 2, which broadcasts regionally. After each edition of The Corner has aired, it remains available for you to watch anytime on mctv20.com. We lead off tonight with a story of rivalry, a friendly rivalry, and cooperation. On October 25, Marion High School hosted Hillsboro for the annual football battle between the two schools. Anytime these communities meet on the athletic field, it is always a spirited contest. But city and school representatives, along with businesses in both locations, decided to add something more to this year's battle. The banks of Marion and Hillsboro went together and contributed funds so that admission to the event, held in Marion this year, was free. No small thing when considering this game always draws a big crowd. The local banks hope to contribute to the atmosphere of friendly and constructive competition. Midway Motors sponsored a hamburger tailgate where a nominal fee was charged for a burger, chips, cookie, and drink. Then all profits from the event were donated to the two schools. The Hillsboro and Marion Chambers of Commerce sponsored a booth where fans could vote for their school by buying raffle chances on Trojan or Warrior-related items. Proceeds help fund the local chambers. The two high schools invited and hosted college representatives who set up tables promoting their programs and providing information for prospective students. Roughly a dozen institutions of higher education took advantage of the opportunity and set up along the track on the south end of the football field. Tabor College, Emporia State University, K-State, and schools from as far away as Nebraska were present. High school students from both Marion and Hillsboro had a chance for a leisurely visit with college recruiters. By game time, the red and blue of Marion and the maroon of Hillsboro filled the stands on both sides of the field. The capacity crowd was treated to an entertaining game in which both sides displayed great sportsmanship. The underdog Trojans started strong, but were eventually overcome by the Warriors, who successfully defended their home turf. But there were really only winners this night, in which the action on the field was intense but without rancor, while the actions of school officials, businesses, and students off the field provided great examples of two communities and schools working together. Spring, although a long way away, is really just around the corner. And with spring will come city elections in both Marion and Hillsboro. General elections will be held on Tuesday, April 1st. The registration deadline is March 11, so make sure you get registered so you'll be able to vote. You can register at the county clerk's office, and they can also provide you with any other information you might need. Early voting will be available by March 18. It's possible it might even be available earlier than that. The county clerk's office can tell you for sure. There's still time to file if you'd like to serve your community. There are 3 positions open on the Marion governing body. The mayor's race, there will be a race for a new mayor, and there are 2 city council seats. There are also 2 city council seats available in Hillsboro. Polling places may be reduced in both cities, so watch your local papers and MCTV, or contact the county clerk if you're not sure where you need to vote. And now, a word from our sponsors.
Carlson's is a full-service grocery store, proudly serving the community for more than 20 years. They feature fresh meat and produce, an outstanding deli featuring daily specials and freshly smoked meats, and a bakery. They also offer propane exchange, DVD rental, and utility payments through Western Union. They can even take care of your catering needs. They have recently remodeled their interior, including new frozen section and bakery managers during the past year.
Welcome back. We're well past Halloween, but we wanted to revisit that tradition for just a few moments. The Marion Chamber of Commerce and downtown businesses annually host an opportunity for young ghosts, goblins, ballerinas, hobos, and vampires to visit Main Street and fill their treat bags to the brim. Gene Winkler and our MCTV cameras were out and about and able to capture some of the spooky action. We thought you might enjoy seeing the kids in their costumes, even if we are a bit late in the season.
There's Maggie. Hi there. What can you have, tell us? Everything.
betcha.
Were you dressed up as a camper van?
Yeah, and an EMT.
You'll be sure to get that.
You guys see Malachi?
As we've said before, the corner is all about Marion and the surrounding area, and we like to celebrate good things that are going on. The Marion Warriors football team just finished a fine season. The squad went 9-2. They were champions of the district and by district, and were regional runners-up. Both losses for the squad came to Heart of America League rival Sedgwick. It was a fine season for the Heart of America League. Marion players receiving all-league recognition were quite numerous. On first team, James Jones was honored as defensive back. Morgan Wheeler received the nod for both offensive line and first team defensive line. Griff Case was a first team kicker. Nick Meyer, offensive line. Kyle Palick, linebacker. And Adam Jansen, running back. On the second team all-league squad were John Nordquist at defensive line along with Nick Meyer. Zach Lumen got the nod for offensive lineman. Caleb Williams was the punter. Taylor Heidebrecht was a second team all-league quarterback, and James Jones at receiver. Also receiving recognition were honorable mention candidates Zach Robson at defensive back, Caleb Williams at linebacker, and Jacob Baldwin at tight end. Since it was such a successful season, we thought it might be a good idea to have a chat with head football coach Grant Tiroff. Usually when we see Coach Tiroff, it's during the football season. He's in a hurry, we're in a hurry, and any conversations we have are quite short. So we thought it might be fun to have an unhurried conversation. Frankly, as we talked, time flew. The discussion covered a lot of topics and ran quite a bit longer than we expected. Nevertheless, we thought it was worth viewing and felt that it might make an interesting interview to have as the primary basis of this week's episode of The Corner. So please sit back and enjoy our cornerside chat with the coach. Well, after a great football season, you always want to have an opportunity to give it a little bit of a thought, think it over, think about what went well, and forget about what didn't go well. But beyond that, we thought we'd have an opportunity to talk to Coach Grant Tiroff about his tenure here in Marion and what it's like to be a high school football coach. So, Grant, welcome, first of all.
Well, thank you. It's always a pleasure to talk about Marion football.
We like to have you venture here to World Headquarters.
Well, it's exciting to be here. It's a beautiful studio.
Yes, it is. First of all, I think the only appropriate thing to do is to talk a little bit about this year's graduating senior class. I think 10 seniors, if I'm remembering correctly.
10 seniors, and all of them starters on one side of the ball or the other. All of them contributed in the special teams, and it's a very fun class. They set the tone in practice every day. They came out with a positive attitude, and a really enjoyable group of kids to work with.
You may have had years where you had fewer seniors where this was also the case, but I remarked at one point this year, this is the first time I can remember to have this many seniors in which every one of them was a major contributor. I think you would agree that every year kids who stick it out for 4 years have a role they play, and they're important.
Right.
But to contribute on the field to the amount these kids did, I thought was a little unique for my experience anyway.
Yeah, and we talked to a couple of them during the summer and explained that if they stepped into the role that we had envisioned for them, then we had a chance to be a pretty good football team. And we had wanted Sean Buchanan to step into that inside linebacker role because we like keeping our fullbacks fresh, and we knew our fullback was going to be running the ball a lot and taking a pounding during the game. So Adam Jansen physically probably is a better football player than Sean, just from he's a little bit stronger, a little bit faster. But Sean did a great job for us as an inside linebacker. Came in and really relieved Adam from that duty so Adam could concentrate on just running the ball. And then as a cornerback, we challenged Griff Case to step into a position that he'd never played before. And corner is one of those positions that it's tough. If you haven't played it, you're on an island outside all by yourself. And Griff did a great job so Taylor Heidebrecht wouldn't have to jump in and play in the defensive backfield. That way our quarterback and our fullback were fresh every series on offense, and that really helps us as far as what we want to do offensively.
Which I would think would be something of a luxury in your experience. Some years you might have that ability. Some years you only have so many bodies of talented kids that you can plug into those roles.
You know, and it's interesting because we'd think that once you get into a 5 and 6A school that you've got all kinds of athletes to work with and all kinds of bodies to choose from. And from my friends who coach at 5 and 6A, they say an athlete's an athlete. And if he's the best athlete we have, even at the 5 and 6A level, he's going to play both ways.
Never thought about that.
And so I went through Lawrence High, Shawnee Mission East, Salina South, Salina Central, and looked at their starting lineups. And it's amazing how many kids they have that play both ways.
I suppose that they may have some kids that aren't playing both ways that maybe would if they were at a lower classification, but
Yep.
Good point. You're still going to play. You want your best out there.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Never thought of that. Was there anything about any of these seniors other than, as you say, Sean and Griff, that stepped up a little beyond what they maybe had in the past that stands out to you as remarkable for this season?
Well, I don't know if remarkable to me would mean that I didn't expect him to be able to do it. We always thought that, we've always known that since he came here that Morgan Wheeler was going to be a good football player, and he's turned into one of the best offensive defensive linemen we've coached. We knew that Nick Meyer had a chance to be very good, and he turned into an all-league performer on both sides of the ball.
Plus, wonderful at intercepting.
Well, it's interesting because the play that he will remember the rest of his life, intercepting a pass against Hillsboro and return it for a touchdown, that play doesn't happen unless Kyle Palick makes an unbelievable play to start it. There was a tunnel screen. Their wide receiver is coming from an outside position and coming across the formation after the ball's snapped and trying to get behind his lineman. And Kyle read it, saw the receiver, came up and just wiped the receiver out, which is perfectly legal if the ball's thrown behind the line of scrimmage. And, the quarterback in one instance sees the wide receiver there, and in the next instance the wide receiver's laying on the ground. And he still threw the ball and went right into Nick's hands, and 38 yards later, it's a touchdown.
I got tickled afterwards, Nick talking about, because he had intercepted a pass earlier at Bennington, and all season long he's showing as one of the area interception leaders. But he didn't take the Bennington one back all the way.
No, he got run down by, I think it was one of their big linemen, number 58 or 68 or something like that. He got chased down from behind.
As time goes on, that tackle from behind will be by their fastest running back, I guarantee.
Well, it was their fastest running back, but we always tell them it was their 5'8", 350-pound guy that chased him down from behind. So.
Only fair.
Yeah.
Great season. Final record 9-2. The nemesis Sedgwick as the season went on. You had to know, and I'm sure you did going in, you had a chance for a real fine season. Did they meet your expectations, surpass your expectations? Are you disappointed?
Oh, we're not. I think the only disappointment comes in the season ended too soon. With that said, I was very proud of our young guys. They played very, very well. And as we talk to our young kids, it's not just a year of getting ready. In some cases, it's 3, 4, 5, and 6 years of preparing for that senior season. Because we really talk to them about, once they come into junior high, that if you want to be the best team that you can be, it's going to take a 5 or 6 year process to do it. Some people think that, I'll just start lifting weights my senior year. Well, really, you lift weights your freshman year to prepare you for your sophomore year. You're not going to gain that much strength and that much agility and improve your speed just in a 2 or 3 month time span. You're doing all of that work just to get yourself ready for that sophomore year, and then you do the work your sophomore year to get yourself ready for the junior year. Everybody thinks that it's just a short time span, but really, to build the type of strength that you need to become a better athlete, it takes a long time to do that.
That actually leads me right into a question I was going to ask. I'm going to jump ahead of myself here a little bit. Marion had a great middle school football season this year.
Yes.
Played undefeated till the last game of the season. Played Mound Ridge. The two undefeateds met, and the final score was not indicative of that game. I think Mound Ridge ended up winning by a couple scores, but that was close right up to the
Yes.
end. A lot of people excited about that. And we've seen that before. Over the course of time, you have groups of classes that have a lot of good athletes, and so all the dads and moms get excited. And I think a lot of folks are excited about that class. When do you, as a high school football coach, rationally or realistically, I should say, expect to see a good group come into something that can perform at the high school level? In other words, just because you're a great 8th grade team doesn't mean you're going to be starting as a freshman.
No, 8th grade football and junior high football is really about who grows hair first.
Yeah, okay. I know
I
exactly.
mean, it really is. It's
Maturing.
about which kids matured fastest, because we've had plenty of kids in Marion that matured later. We don't have very many kids who are growing full beards when they're in 8th grade. I'd much rather have those kids. Now, if you take an athlete like Stephen Boone, who all through his middle school was the man, he realized that if he was going to get better and do the things he wanted to do in high school, he had to keep working. And he did keep working, and he became one of the best football players we've ever coached.
As opposed to some who they've just always be able to get by on their
Exactly.
athleticism, and then suddenly everybody catches up.
And you know, it always catches up sometime sooner or later. There are all kinds of stories that come out of the NFL of athletes who dominated at college, but once you get to that level in the NFL where everybody's good, and speed is across the board, and strength is across the board, and now it takes into account what you've done to prepare.
Work ethic.
And work ethic. Those kids who've never had to work hard and have always been better, oftentimes they fail. And there's numerous stories of kids, guys getting cut every year in the NFL who physically you sit there and wonder, why in the world is that guy not in the NFL? And the simple truth is they haven't worked as hard as they should have. And once again, that goes back to you prepare your freshman year for your sophomore year.
Interesting point. Hadn't thought of it that way, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
So I guess the answer to my question is, you don't know till you see what you got.
You really don't, because you don't know how hard they're going to work. You don't know how much extra time they'll put in. You don't know how much they'll, for lack of a better term, sublimate their ego for the team. Because there's been just as many teams that either the kids have said, well, I should be carrying the ball more, or I should be doing this more, or their parents say, you should be carrying the ball more, or you should be in this position. And it can keep a team from being successful. And that's not just in football, that's in basketball, volleyball, virtually any team sport.
Makes sense. Let's get back to this year, or not really this year, but the aftermath of this year. Everybody always, the football season's over, everybody's happy, went 9-2, great season. So what's on the horizon? One would expect some retooling going into next season with 10 seniors leaving.
Well, and the first thing is we tell all of our seniors that if you want to play football somewhere next year, they need to come and talk to me. I'll talk to them when a coach comes in and requests them. But they need to come and talk to me so that we can have a talk about, okay, what level can you play?
A realistic.
A realistic, yes, a very realistic, because we'll tell them that, they're all-state and we expect you to perform as an all-state player, but virtually every player in a 3A school has got some flaws somewhere. They're either not tall enough, not heavy enough, not fast enough, come from a different style of football than what other teams play. There's a myriad of reasons that coaches will be looking for to keep somebody from being considered, not to keep them from being considered, but they just like certain attributes. And so if a kid comes in thinking, I'm a D1 kid, but realistically he was a second-team offensive lineman at a 3A and a 3A league, unless they have the size, that's probably not going to happen.
To your knowledge, college, I was going to say recruiters, but I guess scouts I'll say, those who are looking at a kid here at Marion High or Hillsborough or anywhere in the area, are they looking for ability, or are they looking for what flaws that kid may have?
Well, actually, the first thing they're looking for is all the measurable things. The height, the weight, the speed, the agility, the strength.
How do they know those things?
We send them in when we send in the prospect cards. We let
So
them
you
know.
actually do have the kids run a 40,
Yes.
do all those? Okay.
Yeah, we do all the testing. So and everything we do is electronic, as far as timing things. So it's a very legitimate 10-yard dash, 40-yard dash, pro agility drill, whatever it is, the testing that we do.
When do you do that? Start of the
We do it all year long.
Oh.
We do it 5 or 6 times during the year, where we're testing kids in vertical jumps and standing long jumps and all the lifting protocols and everything.
So you have that on little Johnny. If the coach from Emporia State wants to know, heard something about him, you can say, well, here's his measurables.
Exactly. We have all that for every one of our kids, and either they have a class with me or with Sean Kraft, and we keep track of those things. And then, in today's recruiting, they want to have a look at him through coming to visit in one of their camps, so that they can watch them run, watch them jump, watch them do pass routes, lineman drills, whatever it may be. To me, still the most important thing is how do they play on the field. And that should be the most important thing. So we always make certain that we send out film on the kids to whichever colleges they want the film sent, so that the coaches can watch them, because there are some kids that measure great that don't play great. And then there are some kids that don't have very many measurables, but they're always around the ball.
You hear that so-and-so plays bigger than they are, or they play faster than they are, that sort of thing.
Exactly. And from a high school coach's standpoint, those are the kids we like playing. The ones that are always where they're supposed to be, always doing what they're supposed to be doing, rather than a kid that has the great measurables, but isn't assignment sound, doesn't play the responsibilities, because those kind of kids can get you beat. At the high school level, sometimes you can make up for that because you're maybe faster or stronger, but at the college level, it has a way of equaling out. And so as a college coach, you want to make certain that your kids are doing the things that they need to be doing. As far as, are they assignment sound? Do they always do the things that they are supposed to do on a particular play?
Interesting. Well, on that note, we'll take a break and let you hear a word from one of our sponsors, and we'll be right back with final thoughts from Coach Tyrrell.
Hannaford Abstract and Title Company provides abstracts of title and title insurance for homeowners and mortgage lenders. They also provide real estate closings for your transactions. Why do you need title insurance? For most Americans, our home is the single largest financial investment we will ever make. Having a clear title is important to the sale and purchase of your home. Your title insurance policy is your assurance that the home you are buying is protected from any title problems now and down the road.
Oh, we're back, and as much as Coach Tyrrell tried to get away, we wouldn't let him because we're good in the 10-yard dash. Coach, one of the things that's going to be affecting Marion football in the upcoming year is this weird situation where we are dropping to 2A in football, and if I understand it correctly, staying 3A in everything else.
Yes.
Whereas 10 miles away, Hillsboro is staying 3A in football and dropping to 2A in everything else. And I think it's been well documented that's because they don't measure. The one is the senior, junior, senior, sophomore classes, and the other's measured on freshman, sophomore, junior classes.
Correct.
But nevertheless, we're going to be 2A in football for a couple of years, at least. You anticipate any major changes or things we'll notice or like or dislike about the change?
Now, the only thing, there's going to be a couple of, to me, they're not necessarily problems, but a couple of difficulties. One, we only play 4 Heart of America League schools next year. So from our standpoint, it's going to be awfully difficult to judge somebody for all league status when you've never seen them play or haven't played against them. So that's going to be a problem.
And I'm going to interrupt you just because, why? I get it's because it's a 5-team district?
It's because the districts are all 5-team districts, so your last 5 games, that you have one open date in there. And it just so happened that our open date was week 7 this year, which is a difficult week to fill because now all of your 3A and 4A schools are all taken care of because they're in district play, which is how we got the opportunity to play Meade. And, we're excited about it. Meade's a great football program. They've won 2 of the last 3 Class 2A state championships. They're in the Final Four again this year.
Yeah, couldn't you pick the Little Sisters of the Poor from somewhere?
Well, nobody wants to play Meade. Number one, it's a long ways out there. They're kind of out all by themselves, and two, they're good. And
Not a good combination if you're looking for matches.
yeah, but we've never backed away from playing anybody. We'll play anybody we can, anytime, and their coach and I have been friends for a long, long time. And they were walking around the scheduling meeting with their heads held low because they couldn't find any games. And so I just told Scott, we're going to look for our league stuff first, and if we can't take care of the league and the league can't work with us, then we'll be more than happy to play you. So we're going to play on a Friday night out at Meade, and then in 2015 they're going to come to Marion and play on a Friday night.
It'll be a home
there.
and home then.
It'll be home and home. Yep. Yeah, because we expect a great crowd, and Meade has a great following, and I'm sure that we'll have a lot of people heading down to Meade, Kansas, or we hope we have a lot of people heading down to Meade, Kansas, in October of next year, and it's it's a great game, great opportunity for us because it's a non-league, non-district game. It's one of those games that you just play to get better, and we're looking forward to it. But there's a whole lot of stuff we got to get done before then.
Well, speaking of that, what is your outlook for next year? Do you have expectations that you take into the upcoming year?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think we always we return a good number of kids in our backfield that can play. We return a couple of offensive linemen, a tackle and a tight end that started for us this year. You're always looking for those kids to step up, and generally speaking, we always have kids who do step up and assume those roles. It's just going to be a little bit different. We won't be as big and physical across the front line as we have been. We'll be a little different quarterback than we have been with whomever our quarterback is next year. But it's just one of those things that it's a cyclical thing, and that's the beauty of coaching at a small school is you get kids that you have to fit in every year.
What, from the standpoint of coaching at 3A high school, what do you get the most pleasure out of? Taking a team to a 9-2 record, a district championship, a regional playoff game, or getting that very mediocre, talented team to come in at 5-4?
Well, I don't know if one's any better than the other. To be honest with you, what you hope as a coach is that you get your kids to compete hard. You get your kids to buy into the system of whatever it is that you're doing. You get them to buy into the team concept. You get them to understand their responsibilities, and we talk to them all the time about, football's just a preparation for life. There's going to be a whole lot of times when you're called on to selflessly do something and to give a great part of yourself to your family or to your work or to whatever it may be. And if you're not willing to make those sacrifices, it's your chance for a successful life isn't very good.
It's always the argument I've used for sports in general, for actually extracurriculars, is something that you're participating that requires more of you than you have to do.
Right.
But you do either because you just want to succeed or because your team needs it, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, and
discipline, that sort of thing.
And I think we've got a good number of seniors that are coming back for next year, this year's junior class, who understand those sacrifices. We have some who it's still a learning process, but it's no different than raising your own kids or anything else. Every one of them is going to learn something at a different pace.
Right.
And we have some who, quite frankly, will never buy into the team concept and will never give everything they can to it. But the vast majority of our kids aren't like that. They're gonna do whatever we ask of them and do it as well as they can do, and that's really all you can ask. Is when you have a kid who we've got a couple of kids, a Dylan Carpenter right now and Braden Fahey, who are offensive linemen, defensive linemen for us. Not the biggest kids in the world. Matter of fact, they're really small for offensive and defensive linemen, but doggone it, they work their tail ends off, and they're in there every day. If you need somebody to jump in on a scout team, if you needed somebody to jump in on a special team, those kids get it. They understand that, I may be sacrificing a little bit of my safety and feeling good because I'm going to get hit, and I'm going to get used as a blocking bag sometimes, but it's going to make my team better. And I think they're both primed to have great senior years, simply because those two kids, and we've got others, they put in the time, and they're in the weight room every morning, and they're working and doing extra work and all kinds of things, and they're never going to be great all-league football players. And if they are, great. I'm thrilled. I'll be thrilled to death if they work that hard. But they're always going to be very successful in whatever they do outside of football, because they understand how to work. They understand that there's something bigger than me at stake here, and that something bigger is giving myself to the team and helping this team win or be successful in whichever way we can. And that to me, that just means that they'll understand that when they start their families. They'll understand that when they go into their jobs. Somebody's going to hire great kids when they hire those two kids.
Excellent. Moving up, last couple of things here, moving away from the current team and just talking a little bit about football and Coach Tiroff in general. And we were just one game away, one half away really, from an interesting scenario where Beloit would have been coming to Marion to play in the I think the sectional championship game. And I know you played Beloit in the playoffs before, once up there and once down here. But this would have been a little different because there'd been a Tiroff coaching on the other sideline. Your son Matt, of course, in his first year. Any thoughts on? Did you look ahead to that at all?
Well, yeah, you sure think about it, but we didn't spend a whole lot of time thinking about it because we knew that first we had to get past Trinity Catholic. And who was playing very well at that point in the season.
They were coming on.
Yeah, and then we knew we had a very good football team in Sedgwick. So we didn't really look ahead and looked at any film. Knew the roster, knew the kids, simply because Matt and I talk a couple of times a week, and we're always talking about what their kids are doing and what our kids are doing, and how do you do this, how do you do that, and not necessarily sharing secrets, just talking about how do you segment practice? How do you do things here? Because I'm as inquisitive as he is, because he knows how we do things, and we're always looking for ways that we can improve what we do. And obviously Beloit is a very fine football team. I don't know that there's a great football team in 3A this year. I really don't think there's anybody that's just great.
Not like some of the past years.
Not like some of the past years where 4 or 5 years ago in Wichita Collegiate, when they had their great crew of receivers. When we played them, I think it was in 08 or 09, down at Collegiate. They were a fantastic football team. That's the most athletic football team I've ever seen at the 3A level, and that was a great football team.
Everything they could take, as I recall.
Yeah, I mean, we gave them their toughest test of the year. I don't know that there's one of those teams out there right now. Beloit's a good football team, but Scott City, returning state champion, and then Rossville and Silver Lake, two perennial powers in Class 3A. So there's 4 good football teams left, but it sure would have been fun playing Beloit.
Yeah, and especially, I don't know, just here. We were all pumped to get a game back here. Haven't had it for a while. We've always seemed that it hasn't worked out for us on the rotation on things too well.
Yeah.
Well, let me end with this, Grant. Is this your 24th year?
26th.
26th year. Okay. 26 years here. Now you were in Anderson County before that, if I recall correctly.
Yes.
In that time, I know that at one point in time, Coach Doug Dick left and Coach Sean Kraft came in. Is that the only change you've had in assistants?
That's the only change.
How unusual is that? I would think it would be remarkable.
It is unusual.
Jerry Smith,
Mark Meyer, we've all been together 26 years, and Sean's been with us for one degree or another for about 15 of those.
Well, yeah, because he played.
Yeah, and he came up through the junior high system, so there's 6 years in a row there, and then he came back 1 year when he was at Tabor and helped us coach, and he's been here about 7 or 8 years now. So that continuity is so important, I think, because we don't have. People would laugh at us actually when they see how little meeting time we have as coaches, because we're talking about it in the weight room while we're working during the summer. We're talking about it at basketball games. We get a lot of that stuff done just talking while we're going to and from junior varsity games or whatever the case may be. And then, after being around somebody for 26 years, it's pretty easy to tell when something needs to be done change. So it's a great thing. I mean, it's worked very well for us, I think.
So what's I really had wondered, a little bit worried to be real honest, because I'm a believer that what makes winning high school football, at least at the 2, 3, 4A level, is, and probably everywhere, fundamentals. If the kids can be taught to block and tackle, the odds are you're going to be okay, and you can run about any scheme. Maybe there would be one that would be better than this one, but bottom line, if they can do the fundamentals, get a chance to be successful.
Yes.
So I'd like to see that coaching staff hang together for a while. I was a little worried that as your kids got into high school and then even more so college sports with Connor at Emporia State, that Grant might decide, well, let's walk away. But now Kaylin's a senior, so you in this for a while yet, or I'm not asking you to commit to anything.
Oh yeah, I have no skills. I mean, that's that's the truth. Anybody's ever watched me try to build anything, I have no skills. I can't do anything. A lot of people say you can't coach either, but we think we've been successful in that regard, and we're excited. Kaylin signed Tuesday to join the University of Kansas rowing team.
Heard that, yeah.
Signed a letter of intent, and so now she's going to be a Jayhawk rower, and we're very excited about that. I think that's a great opportunity for her. And then, personally, next year Connor will be a fourth-year junior. He's redshirted this year at Emporia State, and hopefully will progress through their system and be a nice player for them. And so, it's fun. And the years that we go chasing around our kids when they're in college, they won't last too long.
Right.
And then they'll be off doing something. And so now we're still planning on being around.
Good news. Good news. Well, thank you for the time. I guess is there anything that we've been doing wrong that you want to tell us about? Here's your opportunity.
Oh no. It's you guys do a great service and have been for almost 20 years now, or has it been 20 years?
Well, it started in '94. So.
Okay, so it's been 20 years. So it's been a great service to the community, and it's kept many community members entertained for a long time. So we greatly appreciate it.
Entertained. All these years, I've waited for Grant to say how much we knew about football. He always says, "You guys are funny."
Well, and the testament is, in the years past when we've traded films with people and used Gene's films and all that, virtually every one of the coaches wanted a copy of it or kept the copy of it because they loved the comments that you guys made. The film was of the highest quality. The commentary was always insightful and almost to the point of being Deardorfian. It was
a new word.
Yeah. and the other coaches and the other players just love watching Marion film because you guys have always been complimentary when a player from either team plays well. And like I say, the only people that we would never give a copy to are the officials.
Yeah. We've gotten better in that regard.
Yeah, losing Ed probably.
Ed's passionate.
Ed is passionate, and I love it. Yeah, we take all the wheelers we could get.
Well, on that note, we want to thank Coach Tyrrell for joining us, and we'll be back in the near future with another interview. Well, we know it was long, but we hope you enjoyed the interview. You might be interested to know that as soon as we concluded that interview, Coach Tyrrell and I both left for a local meeting of the Hair Club for Men. We'll be right back.
Heery Real Estate is a full-service real estate agency specializing in residential real estate in the Marion County area. Heery Real Estate lists and sells the majority of real estate in the immediate Marion area. In fact, they sell the majority of Marion real estate listed by other companies as well. They also serve the surrounding communities in the county, including Marion County Lake, Hillsborough, Peabody, Lincolnville, and Florence.
Well, that's about it for this edition of The Corner. We hope you've enjoyed the show. We continue to invite you to give us your feedback. Let us know what you like and what you think could be improved. And if you have ideas or suggestions for future segments, please let us hear about them. Now, final thoughts. With cold weather here, along with the holidays, it is a wonderful time to live here in the heartland. A warm fire and the presence of loved ones reminds us just how fortunate we are. Please remember to think of those who may be less fortunate. Kansans have a tradition of helping each other and taking care of those in need. Do your part to keep that spirit alive right here in Marion County. So until next time, when you join us here in the MCTV studio in Marion, the Rhino capital of Kansas, this is Mike Powers for Gene Winkler and the rest of the crew saying, good night, Mr. and Mrs. Warrior fan. Good night, Kevin. Good night, Red. Good night, Gabby Gabbard, wherever you are. See you around.